Welcome to the 43rd episode of Impact Media Presents. Today, we're launching a new series called Women in Entertainment. And today, we're featuring Shequeta Smith of Shero Comics. Shequeta, thank you for joining us.
Hey Kelly, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. You look fabulous.
Thank you. Thank
For
you so
all of
much.
those of you who are out there who join us weekly, we appreciate your support. And for those who don't know, Impact Media Presents is a live stream associated with our nonprofit organization, Impact Media and Entertainment Coalition. And we're so excited to have you join us, Shequeta, and can't wait for them to hear all of the amazing things that you're doing. I think you were the perfect person to feature as our first guest for Women in Entertainment. And we're going to let you tell all about your story. I knew that you were going to come fabulous today. You look amazing. I had to come and wear, I had to come as close as I could to being my own Shero superhero today. And I'm so glad to have you. I do want to give a little shout out to Robin Pratt, who designed these amazing earrings and make me feel like a superhero. Earlier, I just did 2 live streams back to back. I co-hosted, and I want to give a shout out to the Jewish Free Loan Association for having me host their first business slam. And so I'm feeling superhero-ish. And, on Giving Tuesday, there's just no better way to do it. So thank you for joining me.
And you look
How have you,
amazing.
how
I
have you
love
been
those
doing?
earrings.
Thank you. Thank you. I told Robin, come put your, drop your info, in the chat so people can find you.
Yeah,
So
those are hot. I like those.
yeah. So
I am
go ahead.
doing
Tell
good.
us.
I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
Good.
Just it's a different world that we're living in. So just trying to make the best
Absolutely.
of it and trying to stay positive and to just keep moving on. I mean, one monkey don't stop no show. So 2020 is not gonna get us down here. So trying to keep it going.
Absolutely. Well, keeping it going is an understatement in your world. I can't wait for people to hear more about you. One thing that I do, and since I launched this live stream in quarantine, once everything happened, after COVID, and we had a series called Creative in Quarantine. And I debated whether I called this Creative in Quarantine. And I said, no, she's been doing a lot more beyond quarantine. I want to highlight all the work that you've been doing over the 16 years you've been in Hollywood
Mm-hmm.
and beyond. But I do want to know, to start our discussion, how you've been creative in quarantine. How have you done things differently?
Man, so like for the first month, I think we were all in shock and we were all trying to figure out what exactly was this new world we were going to be in. So I was like everybody else, just kind of like not sleeping all the, all the full night, just
Right.
kind of just out of sorts or whatever. So then after the first month, you kind of adapt to things and kind of see how things are going to be. And so
Yeah.
after that, it was just like I started having dreams. I would wake up in the middle of the night and start writing stuff down. I came up with this
Mm-hmm.
sci-fi comic book that I'm working on right now. And yeah, I just went into this like creative like explosion. And so like I started working on Raven Choi chapter 4. So we're almost finished with that book, which is the next in my
Mm.
series. And I've been meeting with Hollywood like for the past year, really, different studios, different production companies. And so just trying to stay up with what they need. Like if they're asking me for a pitch on something, if they're asking me for an idea on something, I've been like, just like they throw something to me and I'm like, okay, I got it. And so I come back with an idea. So I've been pitching to Hollywood, to all kinds of studios over the past several months, writing treatments, writing action comedy treatments, I'm working on a big budget type of Jumanji type of film right now. I'm writing
Mm.
a screenplay for, it's called The Legend of Cahokia. So it's about a Native American tribe that existed back in 700 AD. And
Oh,
so
wow.
in the middle of all of that, I pitched a TV series for an actress that was looking for something to revolve around her. And it was my squad goals. It was about cheerleading. It was something that I had an
Mhm.
idea for about a year. And while that was going on, I was just like, this would make a really good comic book. I think it's uplifting story. I mean, we need that right now. Little girls need to see this. And so
Absolutely.
after things started working on with that, I kind of like just went ahead full speed with doing the book. I'm just like, this needs to come out. This needs to get out before Christmas. I think the little girls are going to enjoy this. And so that's kind of where I'm at right now. Like the book just came out on Friday. Gotten really good feedback from it so far. Got my first review from a 12-year-old a couple days ago, so I was excited about that. Like she loved it and told me about her favorite character and what it meant to her because she's like new to sports. So it was really cool to see that. I've been reaching out to like the cheerleading, the whole industry, the nation of cheerleaders. So it's been really cool to kind of get their feedback on it because this is the first time that anyone's ever addressed all-star cheerleading in a comic book. I mean, it's probably one of the few times comics and cheerleading meet, period, besides like Betty and Veronica. And I think there was a comic book about cheerleading zombies or something. So this is the first time that anyone's ever done anything in this space with cheerleaders where it's just about, their personality and just kind of what they're doing and their skill set. So I'm really excited about it. I mean, it's about a Black cheer coach. Her name is Faith Walker, and it's a real it's like Faith Walker is really kind of what she's doing. And so she's at her prep school, a really ritzy school, her daughter's school. She's been not teaching, but she's been coaching there for 4 years, won them 4 championships. And then the last championship, there's a freak accident where a hair bow and the girls fall down, so they tumble down. And so she loses that championship, and so comes back to the next season ready to go and goes in to meet with her boss, and he's trying to bring in someone else and to help her out because he thinks that she's not doing her job. And so she's like, it's either me or her. And you know how it happens for us sometimes as Black women. You go to these companies and you give it all and they don't really care. So she gets fired. And so she goes on to try to find a new job. She ends up getting recruited by this juvenile detention center. They don't tell her it's a juvenile detention center at first until she gets there. So she gets there and they're wanting her to come and be their coach and to coach these girls who have all gotten in trouble. One of them's like stolen a car, because her dad passed away, so she's acting out. Another one, she's like the genius, so she's trying to make homemade fireworks. The other girl, she has ADHD. She's kind of hyper, but she's a painter, an artist. So she's been spray painting on like the courthouse, a taco man. So Macy's kind of funny. And then there's another girl who's been bullied by cheerleaders. And so she ends up hitting one in the head with a book. So she gets arrested and taken into juvenile detention center. But this program at Wally Moon is what the juvenile detention center is called, is put together to kind of give them a second chance and to kind of bring them into something that the billionaire lady thinks is going to help them, have a second chance and come out of this on a positive side of things. And so none of them want to do it, but they have no choice. And so Faith gets brought into this whole thing and she has to teach them how to cheer. I mean, they all have a skill set. So they're all being recruited because they have some kind of skill that they're going to bring to cheerleading. And so she tries to find something good in each of the girls and they go on to their first competition. And I'm not going to tell you how it ends up because it's a surprise.
You don't tell it all. Don't tell it all. I can't wait to get it.
So it's a really fun, inspirational, uplifting, funny story. I think little girls are going to like it. I think little girls kind of see themselves in the characters. I really wanted to put this out in the world. I think we need something positive and uplifting right now. The way this year has gone and kids not being able to go to school. So I've been wanting to be in this space with kids for a long time. It's kind of where I've come from. Like I used to teach, so it's always been something I wanted to do. Raven Choi came first and it's a little bit older, but now I'm in the kid space and I feel like so comfortable here. So I'm excited. Very excited.
Yes. Well, you have a few shout outs. Sophia Hips says, Shequeta, I love your book and your look. And then okay, her name, Love Faith Walker. An unknown identified Facebook user says loves the name of the cheerleading coach. As a former cheerleader from the St. Thomas Raiders, St. Thomas the Apostle Elementary School on the south side of Chicago and Hyde Park, Cathedral Pirates, Cathedral High School in Chicago. Cheerleading is rough. We talked about that often. It is one of the most underappreciated sports, and you work extremely hard, yelling, screaming, jumping, doing all kinds of things to your body that is challenging. And so I'm grateful that you're giving, the just due to cheerleaders. It's really, really important that women are recognized. And as you said earlier offline, that it's ridiculous that it really hasn't been acknowledged fully as a
Yeah.
sport yet,
Still to this
as it
day,
should.
like even when I was looking a few days ago, I was just looking at different schools, just to look at their cheerleading programs, and they would have sports listed. It would be like basketball, football, soccer, baseball, but there was nothing for cheerleading. And I'm just like, how? How
Yes.
is this not a sport? Because I mean, there's sideline cheerleading, which is like most of the schools do. So they cheer for the basketball team and the football team, but some of those girls still do what's called all-star cheerleading. So that's what my book addresses. So all-star cheerleading is just you can form a team and you go cheer and compete for trophies. And so these girls, I mean, they're cold, man. They're doing flips, they're going through the air, tumbling, their flyers flying through the air. So I mean, it's like some Cirque du Soleil type of stuff. So I'm just like, these
Yes.
girls need to get their props, because I can't even
Absolutely.
imagine. My bones would crack. They're just like, they're out here doing it. So I'm like, there definitely needs to be some recognition. I'm hoping that this book gives them a little light, shines a light on them, and so people kind of pay attention to what they're doing, because it's amazing.
I'm sure it is. And there's one little detail you failed to mention, being humble. Your book debuted as #1 on the Amazon
Yes.
best-selling list. So we got to give you a shout out for
Yeah,
that.
that was
Congratulations.
amazing. It was amazing. Like it's #1 in the new bestsellers, new sellers in the sports and graphic novel. What is it, like the yeah, it's that
That
section of the
category.
website, a
Hmm.
category. But it's up against like the Justice League, and it's up against like the Teenage Mutant
Wow.
Ninja Turtles, and like there's a book
Wow.
by Frank Miller, Sin City. So it's just like, so they're becoming a #1 and up against those creators who are huge is amazing. And I'm just like thankful that everyone's been downloading the book. Keep downloading the book. I'll have
Yep.
physical copies hopefully next week. So I'll be selling those on my website. But digital, it's like I get to get the numbers and kind of show Hollywood and show everyone else, that this little engine could, like Shero's women are
Absolutely.
important, are powerful, and we can make numbers on Amazon Kindle and everywhere else. So that's what I'm trying to prove here. And so as much as you can support it, definitely do keep us in the #1 spot as long as possible, because eventually they're going to start looking like, okay, who is this? Like, who is Shequeta? Who
Absolutely.
is Shero Comics? This is not Marvel. This isn't DC. Who is this girl? Who are these
Yes.
cheerleaders? So that's kind of what I
Well,
want to disrupt and get their attention, and put my girls out there on Front Street so we can get some respect out here.
absolutely. And we support you wholeheartedly. So anything I can do, please let me know. And that's why I had to have you on right now this week to support you and continue to get the word out using whatever platform and access I have. Because I mean, our
Thank
missions are
you.
aligned. You
Yes.
talked about having more positive entertainment. That is
Hmm.
exactly why I created Impact Media and the Positive Impact campaign. So glad to finally connect in this
I
way.
know.
We've known each other for a few years now.
Hmm.
Great to really be able to support you and the
Thank you.
phenomenal work that you're doing. We typically start, kind of the interviews. I think it's really important for people to understand why people are
Mhm.
motivated to do what they do and the work that they do.
Yeah.
So tell us your why.
My why is, in high school, they were kind of molding me to become a teacher. That was just kind of like my thing. I love kids. I love teaching. I love being around kids. But when I got to college, I was going to be a pediatrician. And
Oh,
so it was
wow.
from that, I was in pre med. And then it was just like, I thought about changing my major to marine biology because I love the ocean and I love the animals in the ocean. So I thought about
Mm.
that. And they were like, no, you're not going to make any money. And so then I started writing for the newspaper on campus. And I just fell in love with writing. And so by the time I was graduating, I mean, I changed my major to sociology, which was really perfect major for what I'm doing now. And it still was, I still taught when I came out of college for like a year or two or whatever. And so I just feel like the media is the most powerful medium. I feel like if I was going to teach, I could teach in the classroom and get a class every semester, every year, or whatever, and teach maybe 20, 30 kids. Or I can go on this platform, which is the largest platform on earth, and teach from this level and put
Yes.
it in story. So it's just like putting vegetables and putting sugar in your vegetables, or honey in the vegetables so the kids can eat it. So like same thing with this story. It's just like there's some things that happen to these girls' lives or whatever that kind of make them this way, but putting it in an uplifting tale to where they can kind of see themselves in there, but there's a way out of that situation or a way to look at it more positively. So I'm just a teacher. So that's kind of that. And I'm creative and those things come together. So that's kind of my why, to be able to be a role model to young girls. Like, I have some people like run away from it. Like, they need role models, and I take that. I'll take that as a badge of honor, and I will be that for them. So that's really my why, is to motivate, to be a light in the world. I think this is my purpose. I think I'm walking in my purpose. And so that's why I'm here.
No, that it's clear, and it shows in who you are and the work that you do. So we thank you for that. And I really appreciate you making the point about how education is ingrained in entertainment. You know, they've created this new word, edutainment, you know, combining education and entertainment. But quite honestly, that's what programming is. It's programming you, it's programming your mind, which ultimately programs your behavior, which ultimately programs your character. And that's part of the reason why I started Impact Media, because I'm like, we are not programming people for the outcomes that we need to see, whether it's how Black people are portrayed or how we can be better people, you know, in this world living together of different, you know, ethnicities and races and backgrounds, et cetera. We're not using this platform as a model of how we can see a better future. And we're starting to do more of that, thank goodness, in the past 9 years since I've been here. But I just really feel there's so much more that can be done. And I believe that it's intentional, that they're intentionally feeding certain audiences garbage and not green lighting things that would elevate certain populations. And that's why we have to do it ourselves. And it's unfortunate that sometimes when people who look like us and have backgrounds like us, when they have the opportunity, they don't always use it for the purpose of upliftment, of education, and to better, you know, the world for people like us, and some who are, and many who are disadvantaged. And it's just a terrible missed opportunity to not use this platform and the impact that you can have to change the lives for other people. So again, I applaud you for doing that.
Thank you.
Why do you think we need to see different images of women? That's a very basic question, and most people get it, but there's some who still don't. So make it clear, girl. I know you will.
Well, like for me, like I always talk about worldwide domination. That's kind of what I want to do. That's my goal. That's my purpose. That's kind of what the path that I'm on. If you go to other countries,
Shero superhero talk right there. World domination. Okay, I want to get on that.
That is definitely. But like, if you go to other places, like I traveled with my book Raven Choi. I went to Indonesia, went to Korea, went to Pyeongtaek, like a couple places in Korea. I went to New York, LA, North Carolina, Florida. I've been all over the place. And people take what they know about you, or they think they know about you, from the media. Like in Korea, it's a place where it's almost 100% Korean. So a lot of them, like when I went there 20 years ago, which helped me get the story of Raven Choi, where it came from, it was like there were kids that were like touching my skin because they never seen a Black person before. And so it's just like all they have is what Hollywood puts out there to them for them to see. So if they see a movie where all they see is a woman that's attitude and going crazy and like killing people, that's who they're gonna think that we are. That's all they have. They have nothing else telling them anything differently. And so my goal is to create projects and create content that goes out there into the world that can change those attitudes and those stereotypes, and that can combat some of the negative things that are out there about, especially Black women, but women as a whole too. It's just like we're not appreciated. I mean, women have babies, women do all kinds of stuff. There's all kind of superheroic stuff that we do, and there's no respect for it. It's just like they just act like they don't. It doesn't happen. So I feel like there's an opportunity here to tap into that Shero, that Shero universe that's out there, and to tell stories that women want to see or women want to tell to me. So I've in Indonesia, like I went and spoke at a high school, and the little girls there, some of them were artists, so they brought their portfolios to show me, and they were asking questions like, "Are you going to come back for us? Are you going to come back and tell our stories through Shero Comics?" And I'm like, "That's the goal, is to be able to go to Indonesia and let them tell them their stories through my company, and stories
Right.
that we may have never heard before or whatever." So it's just like, that's my whole thing. And Black Panther is a really good example of this too. There was Black Panther shot part of it shot in Korea, and so they went back. Someone was doing interviews with people on the street in Korea, and so they stopped this Korean guy, was talking to him about Black Panther and what he thought about the movie and what he thought about the women and the Black women in the movie. And so what he said was like, he, before seeing that movie, he had these thoughts about Black women, you know, that they weren't this, or he had negative thoughts about Black women. And so after seeing that movie and seeing how the women, how beautiful they were, how powerful they were, how they were warriors, and there was a whole new perspective that he had of new respect too that he had for Black women. So I'm just like, so the media is powerful. So a
Yes.
movie like that can go out there and tell the world something different about us. It's just like, there's other stories and other avenues, other mediums of ways you can tell the story. So like with Raven Choi, my comic book series, I took it to Korea. Black woman that grows up in Korea, and I mean, we sold out a book at the Comic-Con that we went to. I went to the Army base, Camp Humphreys in Korea when I was there. We sold out there as well. So it's just like there and in Indonesia, where there were no Black people at all. We sold a lot of books there as well. So it's just like people are interested in learning about other cultures. And if you can tell the story in a way that, I know that all of us on the monolith, I know that there are women that are soft, that are, hard, that are tough, that are weaker or whatever. There's all kinds of, it's like a rainbow of us. And so like going and tell them stories so they can see that we're all flawed individuals and we have different strengths or whatever. We're not all the same woman that they show in these movies in Hollywood. Is important. Like it makes it easier for us to move around the world. It makes it easier for us to be respected, I think. And it gives a new perspective on our lives as well. So we get to feel a little bit better by going out, because a lot of times you go out and people treat you a certain way, and that may be because they saw a movie the other day that made them upset at the character. They see you in that character. So my character, Raven, what's interesting about her is that Comic Cons, a lot of white men come by my book and they'll tell me that she reminds them of Batman. And I'm like, I take that. So I created a Black woman, female character that white men see as a Black woman Batman. And I'm just like, okay, I'll take that. And that's what I'm here to do. And that's what I want to do, is to change hearts and minds and to show us in a different perspective and different light.
Absolutely. And there's been this big myth in Hollywood that positive, uplifting content, especially featuring us, is not profitable. And that has been part of my mission since I've been here. And I even did a survey to kind of make the business case that positive programming is profitable.
Yes.
And thank you for continuing to be another case study and example of that. So tell us, we're talking about this. How do you think we can get this perspective, this concept of, positive, uplifting entertainment, exposing people to different people and cultures, and really featuring them in a way that honors and uplifts who they are and their culture, and telling stories and helping people tell their stories so that they have a voice in it, and it's not someone else telling, the story on their behalf, like what happens in Hollywood a lot. What do you think can be done to get this more broadly accepted in the industry?
Well, I think first we have to realize that there's no top on the jar anymore. Because, like the whole thing with the fireflies in the jar, you take the top off and they don't realize that it's open. And that's what I feel like the internet has done. Like the internet, it's wide open. And a lot of people are still stuck in this whole way of Hollywood, getting acceptance from Hollywood. It's just like, no, you can actually, like this story. Like this is a TV series that I started working on. We're still going through the process of developing it as a television series right now, but I wasn't going to wait on them to tell my story. It was just like, there's Amazon Kindle. I have other comic books that I've done. I can put this into some IP and put this out into the world right now, so little girls can already catch up to it before we even becomes a television show. We can build the audience while we're waiting on for us to create the TV series. So it's just like there's a whole big world out there now that the internet's kind of the equalizer, because it's like
Yes.
I'm probably in someone's living room in Korea right now talking to you. So it's just like there's nothing that's holding us back from doing that. It's just creating the content ourselves. I think the one thing that holds us back is money a lot of times, because
Yes.
it costs money to create content. And so I've managed over the past 10 so years since I've been directing short films and creating content to learn how to do it in a way where it doesn't cost a lot of money. Eventually, I'll probably start doing some tutorials on how low budget, how to
Well, we
create
need to talk,
low
girl.
budget. I've managed to do it. I've managed to, I don't know how, oh, my clapper is going off and on. I don't know how, like the tour that I did, I don't know how that happened. It was like I was able to go to Korea, I was able to go to Indonesia, and able to go to New York. It was like I don't even know if I had the money. I don't know. Somehow it happened. It's just sometimes you just have to like figure things out, and that's what I ended up having to
Absolutely.
do.
Take a leap of faith.
A leap of faith. That's
And
exactly
you
what
just
that
keep
was.
moving and you keep walking and doors
Yep.
open, resources come.
Yep.
You just have to move and
That's
jump.
exactly what happened.
And
So a lot of people are scared to do that, and I'm not one of those people. So I'll go out, jump in the fire, and then I'll come back and tell you how it was and how to do it. So that's kind of what I've been moving towards too, is to probably do some tutorials and just talk about. I saw another young lady emailed me about, because I posted about the book. She was saying that she was working on a comic book herself, and I was just like, well, let me know if you need anything. I'm probably going to start doing some tutorials about how to do it, because it's really hard. It's really tedious. A lot of people don't realize it, but it is a really hard medium to navigate through.
Yes.
But she was like, really do that as a Black woman. She's like, really do that, because all I've seen are white men. There have been no tutorials to teach how to do comics from a Black female perspective. So yeah, I'm going to eventually do that, because I'm like, I've gone through the fire. I've been doing this for like 6 years now. I mean, well, comics actually, like when I came out of college, I created a couple of comics that I was working on. Nothing ever happened with them other than me doing concept art for them. So it's always kind of been there in my back of my mind. So I feel like I've been doing this as long as I've been screenwriting. So now it's just kind of coming full circle for me.
No, that's phenomenal. There was something that you said that I wanted to mention. It will come back to me.
Okay.
It's, I just think it's really important. Oh, when you talked about the funding and how expensive it's been traditionally, and it's less expensive, but it still can be expensive, for those who, a lot of people, especially now, this year where people have lost their jobs, a lot of people don't have a lot of disposable income.
Right.
And one of the goals that I had and still have for Impact Media is creating an entertainment fund to help support positive and uplifting content creators. And actually, the organization that I was partnering with earlier today, the Jewish Free Loan Association, I really want to start a named fund so that we can have resources to go out to Black content creators that are working on positive, uplifting projects. So all of that is really important. And doing those tutorials so that people know and understand how to create content in a more cost-effective manner, I think is really, really helpful. And I always believe there's enough out here for everyone. There's no reason for us to withhold, information and know-how, because, no one can block your blessings. If it's supposed to happen, it's going to happen. And you might as well do what you can to help someone else, because, I find joy in helping others. That is helpful to me, to be able to see someone else shine. And not everyone has that same perspective. And hopefully it will catch on even more. And I'm seeing more of it. I'm definitely seeing more of it. So thank you for what you do in that space as well. And so, you've done lots of different things throughout the course of your career. You told us about some of the recent things. Are there any other special projects that you'd like to feature, tell us about, because you've got a vast background in a lot of different areas, and featuring you as the first spotlight for women in entertainment, I want them to see kind of the totality of your contribution to the entertainment industry.
Well, I mean, in addition to writing comics, I also write movies. So like I said, I'm a screenwriter. So that's what I moved here for. I started out writing. I wrote a screenplay just to see on the whim to see if I could write one, and I was a finalist at Sundance. And so I was like, maybe I should take this seriously. And so that's
Yes.
why I ended up moving here because my freshman year, my teacher had told me like you should be a screenwriter because I wrote a play and she thought it was really good, and I was just like, what is that? And so yeah, so it was just like,
Wow.
so I write movies. I I have been a struggling writer, not necessarily financially, because I worked in corporate America while I was doing it, but struggling as in getting Hollywood's attention and them to pay attention
Yes.
to what I'm trying to do. And so it wasn't until maybe last year. I mean, I've had little things that have happened over the years to kind of, pop up and get my name out there. But the biggest thing that I did last year, I was one of 8 screenwriters that was selected into Ron Howard and Brian Grazier's Imagine Impact 2 program, which was like an incubator for screenwriters. So I had 8 weeks to go in and write a movie. And so I ended up writing a movie called Taking the Throne, which is about an African-American woman stockbroker in New York that takes a DNA test and finds out she has lineage to this African tribe in South Africa, and they own a diamond mine, so they're filthy rich, and so their queen is dying, and so she wants this girl to come and take over the kingdom or whatever, and so she goes there under the assumption that she's going on like a little mini vacation, and the queen wants to see her, they're related, and she's going to help her with some business stuff and stocks or whatever, but they really want her to come and become their next queen. So it's
Oh,
kind of
wow.
like a Black Princess Diaries type of story. It's really fun.
Yes.
And it's really funny and fun. So that script has carried me like this whole year of like people reading it and asking for meetings. So I've met with Warner Brothers. I've met with like every company probably you could think of in Hollywood on the strength of that script and some of the other things that I've written. So that's kind of my main thing, is to write big commercial movies that show us and that show my skill set to be able to write across the board. So like I said, I'm working on a movie right now that's like the Goonies type of movie. So it's just like things challenging myself and challenging Hollywood's view of how far a Black creator can go. Because when they see, like, I think I pitched this to like a major like company a couple months ago, this idea for this this Goonies script or whatever, or like a Goonies type of script, and they were so shocked that I was writing something that was about Native American history. And he was just like, did you go to college? Did you study that in college? I was like, no, I researched that in August before I was doing this pitch. And he was just like so floored that a Black woman was writing about Native American history and so thorough knowledgeable about the mythology. And I'm just like, we can tell stories too, all across the board. It's just
Absolutely.
like,
Thank you. Thank you.
So that's my job, is to go in and break down those walls and to make it so that they'll never discount one of us again when we come in the room. That we can write anything. So that's kind of my whole thing.
Absolutely. You've got some shout outs. I can't remember if I did Sophia's initial shout out about the book being amazing and Black Girl Manage. Rumor Room TV is giving you all kind of Black love. So is Vivian Payton. And Sophia said yes to become the queen of the throne.
Yes.
And thank you all for joining us too, as well, on the Yes. So tell us what can viewers do to support you and your work as we're winding down. Tell us how people can get involved, how people can support you, and any closing comments that you'd like to make about your work, or this field, or a message to Hollywood. We need to chat offline about what these next steps are to get them in line. And glad to have another partner in that.
Yeah. I mean, the easiest way to support me is to go to my website, sherocomics.com, and buy my books and buy the t-shirts. What I do with my comics is I feature t-shirts in the comics, and then I print those t-shirts out and sell them to help make money to make more comics. So that's what I've been doing for the past 4 years. So like at Comic Cons, I would sell books, but I would also sell t-shirts, which would help me finance the next book. So that's what I've been doing. So that's the easiest way to support me, is just to kind of buy stuff. And right now it's the perfect time because it's Christmas. So I have a whole line of t-shirts on there for you to buy. I have books, physical copies of books right now. The digital copies of Squad Goals and Raven Choi are on Amazon Kindle. So if you can go there and buy that, like right now, Hollywood is definitely looking at my numbers on Amazon Kindle. Like I just emailed Hollywood last night. And so they're all emailing me back, oh, this is great or whatever. But they're definitely paying attention to the numbers and paying attention to me being above the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or whatever, and how long I stay there. So it's like, you kind of have to show them what you're capable of doing. And so that's what my book is doing on there. So the best way is to just purchase. Like, I mean, I didn't do a Kickstarter because I felt like I could put the book out. But so this is my Kickstarter, is to buy the books and to buy it for family members. I mean, really, this Squad Goals thing was a labor of love for little girls. I just felt like this needed to be something that they have. So if you know any little girls, buy this book for them. It's fun and all ages that can read it. Or you can read it to your younger kids, and it's safe for them. And so that's the easiest way. I think as far as what's going on in Hollywood, I think I'm making waves there. I think I'm more stronger in bringing in ideas than taking their ideas, because it seems like right now they're doing a lot of rebooting. And for me, like I say, like I'm trying to go against the stereotypes and go against the things that have for 10 years ago. So I'm not trying to go do a story from 10 years ago and reboot it, because it's the same stuff that's there. So I'm also always on doing something innovative and disruptive and new that hasn't been done before. So like tonight, I'm working on an action comedy for like someone's Angela Bassett's age. So something that's completely different. It's not a 20-year-old girl. So that's kind of how I write, is things that come to me and ideas that I have that are going to be disruptive and different. So that's my goal, is to be disruptive in Hollywood. And so I think I'm close to them allowing me to come in and do all of what I want to do. So
I believe you are too.
That's what's happening over here. That is what's happening over here.
Keep it up, Shequeta, and please don't hesitate to let us know, how we can be supportive. I would love to have you, back on. I would love to help facilitate other introductions, with other potential partners in the industry and outside of the industry. I also see tremendous opportunities for schools, cheerleading teams, across the country at all levels, from elementary on up, to partner with you and support this work. So there's a lot of work, and nonprofit organizations that work with girls. I mean, there's just lots of touch points, and it's so needed in our communities. You have a shout out from your mommy. She said she's so proud of you and she loves you. And you look so beautiful. All so true. Mom, thank you so much for joining us. We're proud of her, and we're taking good care of her out here too in LA.
Yes, they are. But yeah, so then everybody can follow me too. So you can follow me at Shero Comics. That's Hero with an S on the front. I'm on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. I'm also Raven Choi, which is RAYVENCHOI. That's the name of my book. It's on Instagram, it's on Facebook, and it's on Twitter. So you can follow information about the books. Raven Choi Chapter 4 is coming out February 1st. So it's going to kick off Black History Month in a big way with Raven. Book 4 is the next to last book in the series. So then after that, we have one more book to put out, and then we'll be in trade paperback. So then we'll be in Barnes & Noble probably, and so in some libraries as well. So I'm excited about that. And then Shero Con, which is my Comic Con, all-female Comic Con that I've done for the past 2 years. I'm trying to do something next March for Women's History Month for Shero Con as well, but I'm not sure if we're going to be on lockdown or not. So I'm kind of playing this by ear at this point. It may just be a virtual Shero Con where I talk to women from all over the world. So talk to different artists about comics. That may be what it ends up being, but I'm still trying to work something out. Maybe we can do something out and about in LA or something, but we'll see. So that's, but follow me on social media, go to my website, sherocomics.com, and get on my newsletter. Someone emailed me earlier saying, your newsletters are robust. I'm like, I only send them maybe every two or 3 months. So it's like, I tell you everything that's going on, that one little email. So Yeah, so definitely go and follow my newsletter so you can get information about what's coming up, about sales that I do on things, and just about girls I go talk to. And we're gonna do a book release party in a couple weeks where I'm probably gonna have like a Dallas Cowboys cheerleader and some cheerleaders that do All Star to kind of talk about the whole process and why this isn't a sport yet. Like I really have that question for them. So that's coming up probably on December 12th. But I'm going to send out information in my newsletter and on my social media. So you should be there to get the information. So go follow me.
Wonderful. This has been absolutely great. And I am very excited for you. Congratulations again on all of your success. Impact Media is here to support you, and we look forward to working with you in the future.
Yeah.
And we will be talking real soon offline, Shequeta. Thank you so much, and congratulations again for all that you do.
Thank you. Thanks, Kelly.
Alrighty. Take care.
Bye, everybody.
See you soon. Wow, what an incredible story. Such a bright light here in Los Angeles, and so glad that she has the opportunity to tell these stories to help uplift women, girls, and people all over the world. I love that concept, world domination. Thank you again for joining our 43rd episode of Impact Media Presents. As I'm closing today, you know, today is Giving Tuesday, and Impact Media is a nonprofit organization. We are so grateful for the support that you've shown us all year. This has been the best year for us in terms of donations on Facebook, and we're so grateful. Please remember to support us today on Giving Tuesday. And as we're coming to the close of the year, you have enabled us to do these 43 episodes of Impact Media Presents and creating our own content. And there's so much more that we plan and aspire to do. We thank you for those who have donated and welcome those who are eager to support. And anything that you see here on Impact Media Presents, feel free to email us, and I will make sure that you get connected to the information and the content and the people who are featured as you're trying to support the work that they're doing. So thank you again for joining us, and have a great rest of the week. We'll see you next week. Take care.